Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, good evening, everyone. It's Friday, 10 p.m., September 26, 2025. You're watching Co-op for Two, broadcasting live from Champaign, Illinois, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. You're joining me today for possibly a two-part game here, Murder in Prague. It's a cold case game, but a little bit of a deluxe multimedia-based cold case game. Knock on wood, we've got our multimedia bugs worked out here so we can all listen and watch the video as we play. Before I tell you a little bit more about this game, let's just check in with the chat, see how everyone's doing. I've got my Colombian Hula coffee. A delicious light roast, double fermented washed coffee from Mad Goat, the local coffee roaster here. Let's see, YouTube says 15 concurrent viewers. We've got our normal suspects here. Yesterday was the little pitch night for the board game design competition here in Champaign, and one of the viewers from the channel, Ryan, was at that pitch night, pitched his game. I got a chance to play it, and we got a chance to talk. Very fun, always fun to meet up with viewers of the channel. All right, let me talk a little bit about plans before we get started today. Assuming this game takes us 2 nights, we'll play again tomorrow, Saturday at 10 p.m. and finish it off. And then normally on Sundays, Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m., we would do our play-by-mail game, but we've been doing something a little differently last couple of Sundays in anticipation of October being a little bit different for the channel. So Jonathan Warner, who's sort of in charge of our Octobers, which we play spooky, scary games, I've asked Jonathan Warner whether he thinks we should we've agreed that what we'll do is we'll have one session where I sort of get out the games we're planning to play in October, all these scary games that we've been queuing up. So we're going to have a special session before October kicks off where we just look at all the games we have and maybe decide on a schedule. So I've asked Jonathan to let me know if he thinks it's better that we have that special session on Sunday, or Sunday, September 28th, or Wednesday, October 1st. If you've got an opinion on that, you could stop by the Discord for this channel or the Board Game Geek Guild for Co-op for Two. There's a link to that in this YouTube page. You can actually become a member of the guild on Board Game Geek and get notified of posts. It's always fun to see new people sign up there. On a related note, it looks like sometime in October, which again is our special month, the favorite month of many viewers on this channel, where we focus on the creepy supernatural games. Sometime in October, this channel will probably reach 5,000 subscribers and basically the 5th anniversary year of this channel. So we'll have to do something to celebrate it. You could look at it, you could say it's about as badly performing as any YouTube channel that lasts 5 years could be. It's not quite true, but it's close. But on the other hand, you can look at it and say, what a wonderful surprise it's been. So if you have ideas for how this channel should celebrate that event, let me know. We were thinking we could do like a marathon, a 24-hour marathon. Could have a little cake. I could bring my cat out. Lots of possibilities. All right, anything else to talk about before we get started with this game? I did want to mention one other fun thing. One of the pleasures of this channel, one of the unexpected pleasures, has been meeting interesting people. And a weird thing happened a couple days ago where we were just talking on the Discord. And, you know, I've been talking about New York Noir, the game I've been working on. And Philip Campbell, who's been a viewer of the channel and I've talked to many times, just casually mentioned that he's the creative designer behind the Godfather EA video game, which was a huge, amazing video game accomplishment. And I was just reading some of his blog posts and some of his stories about when he was hanging out with Marlon Brando and David Bowie. And it's just shocking to me. It's shocking to me to meet all of you interesting people, but also a bit shocking how humble, how none of you are, most of you are not talking about your accomplishments or things you do. And it always shocks me because I'm happy to push on people, projects I'm working on, things I've done. So I do want to encourage you, if you're joining me for these live streams, please feel free to talk about projects you're working on, your hobbies, stuff you've created, etc. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this game. Has anyone been to Prague, where this game is set? Prague is in the Czech Republic. For those of you who are geographically challenged, like I am, all I know is that's in Europe somewhere. I guess it used to be part of Czechoslovakia, and then something happened. Czechoslovakia splits up or something. I don't really understand all the details. Has anyone ever been to Prague and have a nice feeling about it? Hopefully it's not all murder there. Daniel says, I went there 10 years ago. Very interesting place. Not what I expect. I've seen the website. It's interactive. Gwen says, I've never left the U.S. and it depresses me. Well, you could do it. You can leave the U.S. You can get on a plane, find a cheap flight somewhere, go spend a day, fly back. If it makes you sad that you haven't been outside of the U.S., figure out a way to do it. Figure out a way to do it. It's never too late. If you think that you have some idea, but you've taken you so many years, you've never done it, don't think about it that way. Today's the day. You just look forward from here. Okay, Murder in Prague. Let's talk about this game a little bit. There are some reviews on the internet. It's maybe from 2023, something like that. The company is quite obviously quite proud of the work that went into this. If you visit their website, this is sold only through their website, directly from the company. I did order it myself. It's about $70, which is very expensive for a cold case game, but it's difficult. You know, I have my own biases about these kinds of things. A game you can only play once for one evening, $70, that's a tough pill to swallow sometimes, but if you can pass it along, then the cost is much less. And some of us value having a more deluxe experience as a special occasion to play with friends. Having said that, the only reason that we can get these more expensive games, well, maybe not the only reason, but a major reason, a major thing that's responsible for that are the Patreon supporters of this channel, which are very generous in donating to the channel and make it possible for me to buy these games, to buy equipment, to pay for Adobe editing software, all the things that I have to pay for on this channel. The Patreon supporters make that feasible and make it feasible for us to play these games without any relationship with any companies, without having to worry about getting review copies and feeling bad if we don't like them. And if we don't like a game, we can talk about it. If you're not a Patreon supporter of the channel, that's fine. Don't worry about it. If you don't have, especially if you don't have the spare money, don't give it a second thought. I'm happy to have you here. All right, now, like most of the mystery games that get played on this channel, you can only play through this once. If you join me for the playthrough, you will not be able to buy this and play it yourself. So if this looks like a game you might be interested in, you might want to stop watching after a few minutes, purchase the game, play it with your own group, then you can come back and watch and see how you did differently than I did. I'd sort of be curious about how many people who watch the videos on this channel, how many are watching the videos instead of playing them because you realize I don't have a group, I'm never going to get around to playing this, or watch them after you play because you're curious, either something went wrong and you want to know how could someone have figured this out, or will someone get as angry as I did when I got to this point. Maybe we'll have we'll do some polls in October. All right, let's take a look at what we've got in the box here. It's rather heavy. There is something on the back. Let's take a look what we've got here. Those were accursed corners. There by the night stalked the specter of Dr. Faust, denied peace even in death as in life. In times long past, Dr. Faust called this very dwelling his residence. There he wove enchantments, delved into sorcerous tomes, summoned the devil himself, and bartered away his soul. For this the devil served him faithfully, fulfilling every desire and whim of the learned doctor. Yet, at the appointed hour, the devil declared, "Enough, come forth." But Dr. Faust was not yet willing. He resisted with all his might and knowledge. He invoked spells, uttered incantations, but to no avail. The devil seized him, held him fast with his claw, and as Faust continued to resist, he was thrust forth, not through doors, but through the very ceiling. And the hole thus rent in the ceiling remained, though they attempted to seal it several times. Each dawn saw the masonry crumble, leaving once more a black void as before. Eventually, they ceased their efforts, for fear gripped them, especially when the ghost of Faust began to haunt the house. Every night he appeared, spreading terror until not even the boldest tenant could endure within his abode. Okay, so that's from a story, The Legend of Old Prague, 1894. That's pretty creepy. All right, let's see what we've got here. Some shortcuts lead to hell. We've got a murdered victim, a symbol. Some credits, obviously structured like a movie poster. So let's open up the box. Is it a dead cat, it looks like? Okay, so there's our contents. We've got folders. Let's read this introduction here. Hello, detective. About time you showed your face. What's with the deer in the headlight look? Don't you remember? You're an international homicide investigator. Come on now, keep up. Number 1, no peeking. Don't you go peeking your nose in any files until you get a specific instruction from the online interface, which will guide you every step of the way. The investigation unfolds as a story, and you receive evidence materials piece by piece. Number 2, face-to-face with the interface. To begin your investigation, open this URL with your computer. To fully enjoy the cinematic video and the original in-game soundtrack, we recommend plugging into a sound system, mirroring into a TV. Fear not, detective. Dear, in a pinch, just your standard issue laptop will do the trick. Now, viewers of this channel know that I'm easily frustrated by using the tablet. I do have my laptop here if that turns out to be a better interface. Hopefully things will go smoothly for us. 3, motive, means, and opportunity. There's only one correct solution, one murderer. Every other suspect can be eliminated. Think like a detective, worth their pipe tobacco, build a timeline, deduce each suspect's motivation, verify alibis, and remember, the devil's in the details. The journey ahead is long and twisty. Highlight interesting findings, share theories, and don't get bogged down early. You can always go back. Well, Gumshoe, what are you waiting for? Okay, and then we've got this very creepy little witchcraft symbol. This is like a teaser of October to come. Okay, it told us to go to a website. I happen to have that website pulled up here. We're gonna figure out the best way to look at all this together. This is where your Murder in Prague detective journey begins. The road ahead is long and paved with cobblestones. Check below to create a user account so that we can save your progress in case you run out of steam or electricity mid-investigation. Okay, if you've reached this page by accident. So far all the translation is great. I've already created an account here. All right, let's see. So there's going to be a little cinematic here. I'm trying to think what the best way for us to watch it. You're going to let me know if you have any problem with the audio, but let's see if we can make this work.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Dr.
Okay,
Sarah
already not working for me.
Mandel. And the thing to know about me is, I'm dead. Murdered. Oh, no, don't weep for me, though, mothers. There's no grand cosmic injustice here. Hand to heart. I made a right mess of my life. But I had a plan. Yep, sure did. And it almost worked out. But if you want to make the devil laugh, tell him your plans.
Okay, we've got a phone call here.
Hello? Oh, the goddamn technology, fucking Chinese water torture. Hello? Oh, well, you look like an open casket. What in the name of baby Jesus did you get up to last night? No, I don't want to know. And save your breath about whatever time it is. If you didn't want to be woken up early, you shouldn't have joined the GIA. We're the Global Investigative Agency. We're solving crime in different time zones around the globe. Miguel, darling, if you wanted to kidnap me today, why didn't you just say so? I might have gone willingly. But what possessed you to take the tunnel? Listen, I'm about to meet with the DA, right? So listen up. I'm sending you on a field trip to Prague. Seems somebody met the big one, a lady doctor, and the local authorities want us to send somebody out to help them. So, yeah, you know the drill. Oh, yuck. Well, that's not going on a Christmas card. They stuck her like a rotisserie chicken. Jeez, well, that's going to be a fun trip. And it must be an important one because they sent word down from upstairs that I was to send my best. But Frank's in Thailand and Molly's on maternity leave, so... So, take the next plane out and go help them figure out who made shish kebab of the lady doctor. Now, when you touch down, go see the detective in charge out there. And I spoke to him briefly. Oh, he's a real charmer. But he has his sights on a suspect, so maybe you can make quick work of it. Okay? And This time, try more investigating and less elbow bending. Look, just don't fuck it up.
Okay, let's talk for a second. Let me see if I can shift this vertical. Will that work for us? Probably. All right, and I can hear we've got some audio. Okay, let's talk for a second. Dorp says, did we play this before? I'm getting deja vu on the video. What you're responding to, we absolutely did not play this, but what we did do is, on one of my tabletop mystery game news segments, we looked at some multimedia detective hybrid video games, PC games, and we looked at this woman that we just met who's running the detective agency. So we watched a little bit of this. What I'm not sure now, though, is did we watch the video, this video for this game, or did we watch a more or did we watch a part of a different series? I know we looked at one series of a woman who's made lots of detective games, and I wonder if they licensed that from her or if we just watched this. Now, I actually really liked that, both of those intros. Those are very well acted and produced. And I like the little adult language here. I'm in. I'm in the mood for this. I'm in the mood for some multimedia full motion video involving in our case. So this is scratching the right itch for me tonight. Okay. Now, that little intro where we saw the newspaper articles, it's clear we've got a cult in Prague, an international cult tied into that little poem book, short story little segment we read about the House of Faust being run by a hospital, but the cult wants to use it. And clearly they murdered that woman by sticking her on a little pike or something. Okay. Let us get started here then. Nothing like an early wake-up call from the boss and a nutritious bowl of murder to start the day. Looks like it's on to Bohemia for me. I think Bohemia was the older name of the Czech Republic, or maybe it was the older name of Prague. Thick sauce, thick accents, and murder as foul as Grandpa Rick's halitosis. Okay, here we go. Guess I'm gonna need my audio things. So we've traveled to Prague from New York City. Open file 1. Study the preliminary homicide file and hit next when ready. Okay, so we're getting access to file 1. If I just look, it said don't peek ahead. So it's just all files. We have one blue one. There's also this loose photo that was in the box. I don't know if that means it fell out of one of these folders or not, though. Maybe this is Sarah. Okay, file 1 on Sarah Mandel. Whoa. I was not expecting that. That's pretty brutal. That is, yeah, that looks like a real death there. Looks like we have an autopsy report here. All right, well, this is not for kids. Whoa, look at that. Look at that. Let's take a closer look at that one. So this in the background, I don't like that. So there's their symbol of this cult. But wow. Are these rebars coming out of this and she's on one of them? October 9, 8:27 a.m. And here's this one. Wow, that's rough. Got her eyeglasses here on her collar. It was fun hearing from her. She said she had some plan worked out, but it didn't quite go according to plan. All right, and here we have what looks like an autopsy. They've illustrated this spike that went through her chest, right under her left breast. Looks like she's got some damage to her arm, too. All right, let's go ahead and read this. Report of investigation by medical examiner. Maybe we'll put these aside till we get to them. All right, Sarah J. Mandel, MD, 38 years old, New York, New York. She's a physician. So born in New York, where we're from. How did she end up in Prague? Last address. Okay, so she's been living in Prague. Death caused by massive blood loss, critical organ failure as a result of dorsoventral thoracic trauma. I think that means back to front. Thoracic in her chest and concomitant pneumothorax. Don't know what that means. Time of death estimated Friday night, October 6th, between 6 p.m. midnight CET time. Everything's going to be in CET time. Friday night, October 6th. So note that the body, these photos are October 9th. So killed 3 days ago? She doesn't look like she's been there for 3 days. Secondary findings on body, superficial contusions on both arms there, and we only see it here on the right arm. Oh, here we go. She's got some here on the bottom lower forearm of her left arm. Bruising on her chest. Blood labs indicate presence of trace amounts of benzodiazepine and methamphetamine. Sort of opposite drugs. She's got benzos. Unless I'm wrong about that. I think the benzos are the relaxants and the methamphetamine is the bring you up. One bring you down, one bring you up. Autopsy revealed no pre-existing major organ damage or chronic conditions other than elevated kidney enzyme levels. No traces of foreign DNA were found on the body. No one left any traces here. Okay. 38 Caucasian female, 178 centimeters for 57 kilograms, blue eyes, blonde hair, not married. She's got a criminal history, willful failure to file tax report, delinquent loans. All right, so maybe she's got some financial troubles. They're estimating time of death, Friday, October 6th. They discovered her not until Monday, October 9th. Time of death is possible to determine with a reasonable degree of accuracy via biochemical enzyme analysis, bruising, coloration, livor mortis. Stomach contents given victim by all accounts was mid-dinner, immediately preceding the presumed homicide. So has she been killed right coming out of a restaurant? Like someone caught her at dinner? That would bring it probably closer to 6 p.m., you'd guess, than midnight. Death caused by implement on a metal structural support rod. Yeah, so it's like a steel, it's a rebar. It's a piece of rebar in concrete that they use to make concrete stronger. Metal structural support rod protruding from a wall. Huh. Victim was pushed onto the rod with considerable force, supporting deliberate homicide. Pushed, protruding from a wall. It doesn't look like it's a wall. It looks like it's coming up from some ground thing. Superficial scratching, bruises in both arms. Support a theory of struggle, likely a push and pull situation with the victim firstly holding onto an item. This is also consistent with bruising on victim's chest from a heavy blunt item about 15 inches by 4 inches. So what are maybe they're going to explain that theory a little bit more. No, it doesn't look like it. All right, let's try to think about it, what they're saying here. Scratching and bruising on both arms, but one on the upper arm and one on the lower arm, as if maybe you were grabbing her, trying to keep her from moving her hand. Likely a push-pull situation. So is someone grabbed her and then shoved her onto this? With the victim firmly holding onto an item. I don't understand why they are so sure the victim is holding onto an item. And then they're saying bruising on the victim's chest from a heavy blunt item 15 by 4 inches. I'm not sure. I mean, we don't see any indication of that, and I'm not sure how they're coming to this conclusion. But maybe they can see more than we can see. Pneumothorax puncture is in a lung. Okay, so they caught her lung here. Lung collapse. Pneumothorax is what people call lung collapse. Interesting. I mean, this does argue a little bit against being pushed on a rod, right? That's on the wall. Then you would expect it to go straight through. This is almost like you've lifted someone, put them down, which is what it looks like here. All right, maybe the crime scene report is going to give us more detail. Decedent Mandel Sarah Jacqueline, female, age 38, victim's association with location workplace. Let's see. Address of the crime scene. Okay, we've got the city and street address, Karlovo Nam. And we've got the person who discovered her, Eva Porkorna. Officers responding to emergency line call from contract restoration worker Eva Porkorna. Victim's body impaled on one of the metal structural support rods left behind from a statue which had been removed in connection with ongoing restoration work following recent fire damage. Victim identified by colleagues as Sarah J. Mandel. She has been employed as a physician by Prague General Hospital approximately 6 months, previously long-term New York resident. Victim's office adjacent to the crime scene. It appears she was mid-dinner at the time of the homicide. Crime scene located inside the library of Faust House, a historic building under management of adjacent Prague General Hospital, used primarily for social functions, not heavily occupied. Library under renovation due to recent vandalism, arson, being investigated independently. Case PCDBE 26109. Part of damaged floor area is exposed. Various furnishings, artwork removed or covered up. Pokorna has been under contract to restore the damaged floor since September 23rd. So 20 days, 3 weeks ago or so, this witness has been working on the restoration. A cult symbol associated with local group Brotherhood of Faust sprayed onto the pedestal below the victim with water-soluble black spray paint. Paint canister not recovered. Trace amounts of tobacco ash recovered in close proximity to the body. No foreign DNA or fingerprints were discovered. Appears to be a meticulously cleaned up crime scene. Building main door open to the public. No sign of forced entry into the staff area. The night guard reports no unusual activity except a loud argument overheard from upstairs approximately 7 to 8 p.m. So it could have been before the murder or after the murder. We don't know. Reports security cameras have been out of order for several months. Appendix 1 is recovered evidence, which is here. Wow, look at how nice this is. Okay, here's the evidence they recovered from the crime scene. 1. Library, restoration materials and specialized tools. This is flag 1. 2. A precious metal detector. 3. Desk drawer contents. Got Valium. That's the benzodiazepine, I guess. Half empty. So a bottle of Valium, 60 tabs, half tablets, half empty. Worker gloves, new with tag, also there. Receipt from van rental reservation and an insurance form. Okay, we'll look at these in a second. 4, dinner takeout. Okay, so she got takeout and she's eating it. Maybe we could find the receipt indicates meal was delivered by Walk Express at 9:17 p.m. and it's half eaten. Okay, there we go. That's going to help us get time of death. She was in the middle of eating. She got it delivered at 9:17, so we've narrowed the time of death probably to sometime after that, although you could imagine someone orders food after she's dead and eats it sitting there with her body. 5. Heavy-duty suitcase on wheels, brand new and empty. Interesting. 6. Waste paper basket, plane ticket in the deceased's name. Torn handwritten letter. So she's got a plane ticket in the garbage. We don't even know what she's doing here. She works nearby. But she's lived in Prague for, I think we read that she's been there for a couple months, right? I think we read that she's been here for 6 months. I'm not sure. Oh, maybe here we read. So she hasn't just arrived. 6 months she's been in Prague from New York, and here she is at the murder scene with a ticket, with the airplane ticket. All right, let's get a closer look at some of these. All right, so this is the restoration equipment that they've been working on restoring this floor. And we're told that's all that's in this photo. So what have we got? Pliers. This is a little box cutter. She's got a wrench, little pieces of tile, some crowbar. Remember, she's got evidence of a bruise on her chest from something that was 15 inches by 4 inches. We've got a little mallet here, or a crowbar. That would be, maybe the mallet would be the closest thing to that. Screwdriver, tape, looks like a drill. Here was the metal detector. So was someone looking for something under the floor? Or something buried? This is the contents of a desk drawer that they've pulled out from a desk. We've got the half full bottle of Valium, maybe some evidence that she's taken one of those. Gloves, unused with the tag, an insurance form, and we're told a receipt from a van rental. And here we have her food. There's her Chinese food with the receipt that pinpoints the time of delivery, 9:17 p.m. One set of chopsticks, someone probably eating alone. They did not get through much of it. Then we've got a brand new suitcase in the corner, empty. And here we have the garbage can that's got a plane ticket and a ripped up letter that we don't know anything about. Okay, there's our crime scene report and evidence. And then the last item in this folder is a nice big newspaper. I think this probably is part of this file. I'll just put that with that. All right, what have we got? A nice big newspaper, double-sided. That feels like newspaper. That's a very good observation, actually. All right, let me just read up a little bit here before I do this. Was she fighting over an item with the murderer? She won the item, but the force and weight of the item hitting her, forcing her off balance? Maybe. Probably she was unconscious when she was murdered. I don't know about that. She didn't win the fight for the item. What were the measurements of the body? I wonder if they matched the suitcase. That's an interesting idea. Was she killed? We think she was killed in the middle of dinner, and that looks like the dinner, but I guess we could look at the contents of her stomach and see, was it really Chinese food, noodles, that she was eating when she was killed? Otherwise, the theory is someone brought her in the suitcase. Now, why can it not be that? That's a fun idea. Someone brought her in the suitcase to stage her body. Why can't that be the case? How do we know that's not the case? What would you expect if she was brought to this location and staged? Yeah, I think you'd find some evidence of her body in the suitcase. If she's dead from this impalement, that doesn't make sense, right? I mean, I suppose you could theorize that she's knocked out and brought in the suitcase and then dropped on this thing. But then her DNA would be all over the suitcase. She's a long-haired woman. You'd get threads of her hair cramped up in the suitcase, caught in the zipper. You'd also have to find the drugs that knocked her out. And a little bit of benzos and methamphetamine aren't going to do it. So I don't think that's the answer to the suitcase. However, there was an interesting comment in the chat. Jamie says, the chopsticks aren't scattered, so whoever was eating wasn't caught off guard. I think that's a great observation. Like, you might expect that she's in the middle of eating. We know she's killed in the middle of eating, basically. But this is not someone who's gotten scared by an intruder while she's eating. This is someone who stopped eating, put the chopsticks neatly in this container, and then gone to do something else. And we can see they haven't eaten much. All right, let's read our newspaper, and then we'll take our first break. So here is the building where the murder happened, at Faust House 502, and there's that symbol of the cult again on the wall. Has that been painted? I'd like confirmation that that was painted that evening. That's pretty risky to be doing that in public. There's the police coming to take away body. We've got some witnesses watching. Those are always suspicious. Doesn't look like anyone's looking out here. All right, let's read this article together. Jack Malone, special to the Prague Times. Prague law enforcement are investigating a disturbing homicide at Faust House in Karlovo Square. Early this morning, a body was discovered inside the building, which belongs to the Prague General Hospital complex. The identity of the victim has not been made public as of publication, but inside sources suggest it was a member of the medical staff. The circumstances of the crime appear to be highly peculiar. The body was found in the library of the Faust House. Sources inform us the scene of the crime was arranged in a ritual fashion, with the insignia of the organization titled Brotherhood of Faust inscribed prominently. This follows last month's arson incident, whereby the same building was broken into and the cult's insignia burned onto the floor. The body of a dead cat was also found at the scene at that time. So last month is the arson and the killing of the cat. Faust House feud turned violent. Sources close to the case tell us that the police have so far not been able to recover any definitive evidence. But the Brotherhood of Faust is the logical prime suspect. The Faust House building is managed by the nearby General Hospital and is used largely as an administrative and event space. The cult and the hospital have been engaged in an ongoing public dispute regarding this fact. According to the Brotherhood, the building is so closely connected with their tradition and beliefs that the city should make it available as a place of congregation, much like it would a church. Police have been investigating the numerous reports of alleged harassment by members of the Brotherhood, who have reportedly been primarily targeting MU Dr. Martin Vickrell, the hospital chief. I don't know what this MU part is. It's clearly Dr. Martin Vickrell. This, however, would mark the first ever incident of overtly violent activity on behalf of the Brotherhood. It was only a matter of time. Lafferty declined to comment on any alleged ties between his organization and the act of vandalism. In response to our questions, he merely stated, "It's a fundamental law of nature that stagnation can only be resolved by destruction." The chief investigator on the case is Detective Karol Swab of the Prague Criminal Division, who has for a long time been outspoken about his views of the Brotherhood and Lafferty in particular. On the case, he commented, "There's no question it was those satanic morons. That guy's a demon who manipulates thousands of young people into some very dangerous beliefs. It was only a matter of time before this turned more violent." Continued on page A2. So here's a crime scene photo of the arson and cat killing. Ritual sacrifice. Police photo from last month's arson incident, which took place at the same site, reveals a cult symbol associated with the secretive group Brotherhood of Faust left a fiery mark on the library floor of the Faust House. And we've got a little article here called "Flood Causes Damage" by Catherine Gibson. Continued torrential rains throughout the weekend have further exacerbated the already serious flooding situations across the nation. Regions in the eastern half of the country, in particular, have reported devastating damage from floods and mudslides. According to weather forecasts, the rains are due to stop tomorrow in the afternoon hours. Emergency services are on high alert, coordinating efforts to provide relief and support to those impacted. Temporary shelters have been set up and rescue operations are ongoing to reach individuals stranded by the floodwaters. The government has announced plans to allocate additional resources for recovery and infrastructure repair in the aftermath of the flooding. Citizens are advised to stay updated through official channels and to prioritize their safety during this critical period. Continued on B4. And we've got an ad here in this newspaper for a book called Dead Coast by Henrik Muir. Available right now, 4 stars. An absolute masterpiece, the Prague Times. Dead Coast. Is this a real book? Is this going to be a book by a character in the story? We don't know. More inside. Economic downturn, crime rates soar, A4. Bank heist, inside job suspected, A5. Espionage allegations hit government officials, A7. We should say, I think this is the only game by this company. So I don't know. I wonder if there's going to be more. We've got a little, what do you call this? Not the letterhead, but there's a name for this little panel in a newspaper. Someone can remind me what it's called. The Prague Times. Banco Cerny, publisher. Thomas Belko, editor-in-chief. We've got photographer, art director, audio content, online design, website. These might be the credits for this game. That would be a clever way to do it. Okay. Then we've got a little ad for a very believable perfume called Clope. Breathe it in. Here's a woman smoking a cigarette. How do you like that for a perfume advertisement? And your main picture is smoking of a cigarette. Gives you a little bit of flavor of Europe here. All right, and then lastly, it looks like we've got an article about this cult, Brotherhood of Faust. All right, who have we got? We've got a photo here of this guy. Lafferty, he might be the main guy. Brotherhood under fire. Recent criminal activity branded with the group's symbol causes serious concerns. Continued from A1, but not really continued. The Brotherhood of Faust is an occult group founded by Lucian Lafferty. The movement was founded by Lafferty some 7 years ago, has been gaining traction internationally of late, especially among young people. From the Brotherhood's headquarters in the catacombs below Prague's Old Town, Lafferty regularly streams broadcasts to a growing group of followers via the dark web. These are secretive. One must be vetted and admitted into the group to have access to them. And sources close to the group tell us they range from sermons to dark rituals. As of the writing of this article, the group is reported to have a worldwide subscriber base in the tens of thousands. As such, the movement has been gaining some prominence in pop culture, with some calling it the dark side of yoga, or the Nouveau Freemasons. It has become a movement in the counterculture zeitgeist, with spray-painted renderings of the iconic symbol cited across the world, from lampposts to landmarks. However, the Brotherhood has also been mired in a great deal of controversy, with reports of animal sacrifice rituals and cult-like practices. Lafferty's teachings promote energetic alchemy, the notion that one's fundamental life force can be purified and reinforced through various rituals, and that this is the most direct way to free oneself from the limitations which society imposes. He has previously stated, Faust's story teaches us of a man who was willing to pay a price to achieve a full liberated expression of his soul. Perverted by the pressures of societal morality, by the time Goethe published his classic adaptation, it has come to be known as a cautionary tale of selling one's soul to the devil. But in reality, in the original folk versions of the story, Mephistopheles, another name for the devil, in the original folk versions of the stories, Mephistopheles represents a metaphor for the most fundamental question man must face in his life. Am I willing to become a fully true, free version of myself, no matter the cost. We believe this question is now more relevant than ever before. And then the caption to this 2-photo panel says, Lafferty's charismatic spiritual movement has been raising eyebrows since the recent emergence of the hashtag Faust brand trend. There, members of the cult would post photos of brands of the group's symbol, which they willingly burned into their own skin. Okay, so here's 2 men that have branded this symbol onto their arms. Holy cow. Creepy. And then the last thing in this newspaper is a little sidebar, which looks like an old Renaissance drawing of Faust summoning the devil. Look how cool this drawing is. Here is Faust reading from his book. He's drawn some words, some symbols around him, and he is summoning the devil who is rising out of the floor here. House of the Devil. Built in 1726, the Faust House is a historical landmark shrouded in myth. Located in Prague's Charles Square, it is inextricably tied to the legend of Dr. Faust and its various retellings by the likes of Goethe and Marlowe. According to the story, Dr. Faust sold his soul to the devil in exchange for unlimited success and wealth. When his time had expired, Faust fought the devil tooth and nail, but was ultimately taken away through the ceiling. This encounter was believed to have left a hole in the ceiling, which resisted any attempt at resealing. The ghost of the doctor is rumored to still haunt the building. I assume this is a real house in Prague. As this is a real story, the story of Faust. As a matter of historical fact, the building stands on ancient pagan sacrificial ground. It has been home to several renowned alchemists, such as Rabbi Lowe or Edward Kelly. During their residence, all manner of occult experiments were reported to have taken place, with flames and terrifying noises emanating out of the windows at all hours. The urban legend of the Faust House was further reinforced by it being miraculously immune to bombings during World War II. Renovations after the war revealed the remains of 7 cats, which had been built into the building's foundations. Yikes. Gwyn says these glyphs look like some of them are planetary symbols. Well, don't forget, there's lots of crossover in symbols and languages the further back you go. But boy, that is cool looking. Okay, so there's the paper for Monday, October 9th. And with that, we finished case file 1. The website says we can go back and tell it that we finished with this file. A very cool introduction to this murder. Let's take our first break here. We'll come back in 8 minutes and we'll see what's next. All right, here we go. The chat seems very concerned with the cats in this game that are dying. It is a little scary. We've got cats dead last month in the arson, and then cats found buried in the foundation of the building. And this cult has a history of animal sacrifice. So yeah, let's hopefully bring some justice to these cats. Okay, we finished file 1. Study the preliminary homicide file. Hit next when ready. And then we've got a little flavor text that looks like below. Plane ride was 6 hours longer than humanly bearable. You can't hear this, but I can hear myself. Let me just take care of this. Hold on. Monitor. Oh, monitor. No, that's not gonna do it. Well, not so easy to fix, but I'll just not talk over when I'm listening.
They sent you, huh? New York. Maybe you have bigger brain than my boss. I'll tell you, 5
Okay, hold
years.
on.
5
All
years, I'm saying.
Sorry. I've got to fix something. Just give me 1 second here. Okay. So I'm hearing double audio, but I think that's because of the YouTube stream playing in the background. I think we'll be okay now. Let's see.
Than my boss. I'll tell you, 5 years. 5 years, I'm saying. Very dangerous, Lafferty. False fuckers. Very evil danger. But nobody listen. Never. They don't take serious, yeah? They say, Schwab is crazy. Schwab is too old, you know. Splashing on his lighthouse. And now?
Okay, let's try again.
They sent you, huh? New York. Maybe you have bigger brain than my boss. I'll tell you, 5 years. 5 years, I'm saying. Very dangerous, Lafferty. False fuckers. Very evil danger. But nobody listen. Never. They don't take serious, yeah? They say, Schwab is crazy. Schwab is too old, you know. Splashing on his lighthouse. And now, pretty lady doctor. She's not so pretty anymore. But now everybody listen. Now they say, Schwab, maybe you're not so crazy. Schwab worked with, again, America, James Bond. It's wasting time and money. But okay, I cooperate. We say here, for every pig, boiling water. Yeah? And you will help me boiling Rafferty. You want coffee? Automat outside. For a fix. Yeah. Here. We make for you papers about that lady, autopsy report, what she's buying and who she's calling. But look, I can save your time. Yeah? 1 month ago, same house, same room. They kill cat. They make fire ritual symbol around it. Terrible. I like cat. And now, they kill doctor. Same place, same symbol, huh? We say here, with more food, grow the taste. And what's next one, huh? Nothing. Next month, that son of a bitch, shower in prison, huh? Lafferty, ah! Ooh, he will really meet the Satan. Slyším. Rozumím, konec. They have him for us in the bracelets. Ugly fucker. Now you can come meet in person Mr. Devil.
Okay. Well, that's pretty great. So the chat is saying here they need a little bit of translation. Okay. This person we're talking to is the Prague cop, the old cop. And what he said was, there is closed captioning, but I don't know why it wasn't turning on. What he said is, everyone's making fun of him. For 5 years, he's been talking about the Faust Brotherhood, and Lafferty, that's the head of this cult. He said they all made fun of him. They never listened to him. And then he says about last month, there was the arson and the fire. And then he gave us some Czech sayings. For every pig, there's a pot of boiling water. And he's basically saying, now we're going to lock this guy up. They never listened to me. Now this lady doctor gets killed. They're finally going to listen to me, and we're finally going to arrest this cult. That's basically what he said. And then he got the call. They've arrested Lafferty, the head of the cult. An ugly fucker, he says. And now, if you want, you can come down with me. We're going to go talk to him. Yeah? All right. And it says, now open file 2. And then there's a little talk here about that cop we were just talking to, Svab. National treasure that he is, seems to have this all figured out. At first glance, it seems to all point to the Lafferty loon, enough for an arrest warrant. Something's telling me things aren't going to be so simple. If it really was Lafferty, I'll bet pinning it on him won't be easy. Even his photo looks slippery. Then again, this could be the world's most convenient frame-up. Okay, and it's the next day. Yeah, any other, does that answer all the questions that that everyone have? I'll try to figure out why the closed captioning wasn't turning on there. Okay, file 2. File 2. File 2 is the only blue file. It says homicide foreign national, so it seems like maybe they use the blue folders for the foreign nationals. Okay, let's see what we got. It looks like we're getting some of the items that were found at the scene. Let's try to keep our stuff organized here. This is our file 1. Now we've got file 2. All right, so this is stuff found at the scene of the crime. Remember, we were told about a receipt for a white van. Let's see what this looks like. City Van Rentals in Prague. There's their telephone number. I wonder if that's actually callable. October 5th at 3:18 p.m. Customer Julie Schneider. We have no idea who that is. There's her phone number. Pickup at Prague, return in Zurich. Zurich, Switzerland. Is someone driving, has a long drive. 1,350 euro. That's a lot of euro. It's a lot of money. I guess it's a far trip. Okay, we have no idea who this person is. Why is her receipt found at the Faust house? Then we've got lots of fine print. She paid in cash. She paid 1,300 euro in cash? That's very suspicious. Anything written on the back here? No. Well, I'm not calling Prague, but if someone's in Czech Republic, they can give that a call. Okay, we've got some more evidence here. Remember, we were told there was a plane ticket and a ripped up letter. In the waste paper basket in the victim's office. Okay, let's see. First, let's look at this plane ticket. So it is for Sarah. And what are we looking at? 7th of October. So, is that right? Yes, 07 October. Now remember, they think she was killed on the 6th on the evening. So actually she was due to fly out on business class on the next day, Saturday the 7th. Where was she going? To Funchal, FNC. Does anyone know what airport that is? Funchal? FNC airport, Funchal. I don't know what airport that is. Casablanca Airlines. Okay. Why was it in the garbage? Why would it be in the garbage? Valley in the chat says it's Portugal. So from Prague to Portugal on business, but why would it be in the garbage? That's a very weird thing to do, to put an airplane ticket in the garbage. All right, let's see what this torn up letter, anything on the back of any of these before we reconstruct it. Doesn't look like it. No. Okay, so it's only front. And it looks like it's all not requiring any skill in reconstructing it, which is just fine with me. There's no real point in having that be a challenge. It's more the fun of just reconstructing it. See what we got. So we got the full letter here. See if we can make so. This is my letter goodbye, she says. So it's from her letterhead, Sarah Mandel's letter. It's written on the day she died, apparently, and it looks like it might be a suicide note. This is my letter goodbye. By the time you read this, I will be long gone from this ugly world. She's crossed out of pain. This ugly world. I've made my peace. I will now go and jump, crossed off, leap, into the roaring river. She's crossed off. And then written Moldav, is that the name of a river? To be swallowed whole, my world of pain, rotten soul. To be swallowed whole, my world of pain, my rotten soul. Wow, that's creepy. I have struggled for a long time now, she says, but I want it known, but I want it known, or something it known, that what finally pushed me over the edge was Chief Vickrell, his incessant harassment and shameless chauvinism. Now, Chief Vickrell, that came up in the newspaper, that person. It's the doctor. The doctor, Martin Vickrell, the hospital chief. And here she is blaming him. What pushed me off the edge was Chief Vickrell, his incessant harassment and shameless something. She's crossed out and wrote chauvinism. Shameless what? What is that word? His shameless sexism. She's crossed it off and written chauvinism. That in this day and age, a man like that should still be in a position of power made me finally realize this is no world I want any part in. I hope my death can right at least one wrong in exposing him. As my final will, I leave behind a document assigning all proceeds from my life insurance to Elizabeth Lucas, a being all too pure for this world. I'm so sorry, Grandma. Don't weep for me. She's crossed that out. I will be better off now, I promise. Wow, that's weird. The chat says, the Moldau is the German name of the river Vltava in Prague. And Jamie says, travel explains the empty suitcase and Madeira Island in the Atlantic owned by Portugal. Boy, that's weird. She said, first of all, look, we've also got, I don't know if you saw this, we've also got the website of this hospital. I don't know if we're meant to be visiting websites in this game. Surely this feels like the kind of game that would give us a hint if we were supposed to. But I am going to make a little to-do list for us so we don't forget. Visit Sarah's letterhead hospital website. I think we're going to get a reminder if we're really meant to do that. This is a very odd suicide letter. But, I mean, there's her signature. It's going to be very easy for us to, to confirm that's her handwriting. There's also a phone number and a website, a phone and email. I'll put that on our to-do list as well in case we want to talk to them. But what a weird letter. Her plan is to leap into the river and be swallowed whole to get rid of her world of pain and her rotten soul. So she doesn't feel too good about herself, and she meant to commit suicide, but here she has been impaled. And then she says the thing that pushes her off the edge is the chauvinism of her chief medical doctor, her boss. She says, shouldn't be a person like that, but at least she can get him in trouble with this suicide note. And then she's got this instruction about her will. She's going to give all the money from the insurance, but surely if she commits suicide, she's not going to get the insurance money. And then she wants her insurance given to Elizabeth Lucas, who is not sharing her name, so we don't know who that is. And then she says a weird thing about her being all too pure for this world. Weird. And then she's writing to her grandma and then says, and then signs it. That's very odd. But we've got lots of handwriting. And why is she committing suicide when she's got a ticket to go to Portugal? And why is she ripped this up? Yeah, that's a good question. Like, why would this be written up? Okay, well, let's, I'm tempted to tape this together so we could look at it, but I think what we'll just do instead is we'll take a screenshot of it in case we need to come back to it. All right, and then I'll put it away. Strange. All right, let's see what's next. Looks like we have the incident from the fire. September 15th, about a month, less than a month ago, at the Faust House. Arson narrative. On September 15th at 22:19, an automated detection system alerted dispatch of a fire at the address. Fire department arrived at the scene 22:34, discovered an escalating fire within the building's library. Successfully contained before spreading to other parts of the building. First responders handed over the scene to criminal investigators at approximately 23:11. So this is 11 p.m. This is 10:20 p.m. Responders discovered the source of the fire had been a rendering of a symbol approximately 1 by 1.5 meter, so 3 foot by 4.5 feet, associated with so-called Brotherhood of Faust, which had been burned into the floor. Exhibit A1. So there's the symbol behind the cat that's been burned into the floor. So someone poured some oil or whatever and lit the floor on fire. Floor is made of wood. It's clearly a kind of parquet wood floor. High concentration of ethyl alcohol had been applied to the floor and set on fire. Placed centrally within the symbol was the body of a black cat. The cat corpse showed some burning damage. However, examination revealed that its cause of death had been blunt force trauma. So ostensibly it was killed prior to the incident. That's pretty brutal. No sign of forcible entry. Sparsely populated, low-security building used as office and entertainment space by General Hospital. Initial damage assessment, moderate damage to historic floor. Artwork and furnishings. Guard on duty stated he did not notice anything out of the ordinary. He conducted his most recent patrol at 2100. So he says, at 9 p.m. I made a patrol. Fire gets alerted at 10:19, an hour and 20 minutes later. Investigation is ongoing. Detective Karl Schwab, this is the guy we just talked to. And it looks like maybe this is his signature. All right, and we have two more things here. We have the insurance form that was found on the crime scene death of Sarah. Let's see what her insurance policy is all about. So she's writing it for Elizabeth Lucas, but it looks like Elizabeth has filled out this part, right? There's two sets of handwriting in two different pens. One is Sarah and one is Elizabeth. And they've signed it on the day she died and on the day that she wrote her suicide letter. They filled out this form. And notice they've just filled it out together. It's not been handed in to the life insurance company or notarized. It's just filled out, the two of them. Let's see. Elizabeth Lucas, who lives in New York City on 10th Street. We've got her social security number here. Sound mind and body under no duress, irrevocably assigns and transfers all benefits and proceeds to assignees. So it's just a transfer letter from the Marlowe Insurance Group, which we have a website for. This, and it's underlined. This feels like we are definitely going to be able to go to this website. The channel says, does it mean Elizabeth was there that day? It sure seems like it. Yeah. Well, we don't know when she got to this building. It may be that Elizabeth works with her in the hospital and they've done this in the morning. We don't know that Elizabeth was there at the time she died, but sometime that day. There's no year, but we're assuming it's the same day. So we've got Sarah's signature, Sarah's printing, and then Elizabeth Lucas with a very weird signature. It's an E and then an L that goes through it. It's a little bit like creepy how it kind of looks a little bit reminiscent of the symbol that the cult uses, right? But it's an E and an L. And then she's got very distinctive handwriting with the Z with the thing in the middle. Now, one thing we might try to do is say, can we match this handwriting to her suicide note? There's the signature on her suicide note. Certainly looks the same. I mean, surely that's the same signature. It even looks like the same pen. Sorry for the cough. I'm still getting over my cold here. Okay, well, we're gonna want to talk to Elizabeth Lucas, that's for sure. And then the last item in case 2 is a bank statement. So I don't remember hearing about any bank statement. And you can see why. It wasn't found at the scene. It was subpoenaed by the global investigative agency that we're part of. Looks like our boss got it. So they want to see how much money she's got. You find a dead person with an insurance money. The first question is, how much money do they have? Who's going to get that money? So let's see. It's the bank account in the Czech Republic for Sarah. She's 11,000 pounds in debt, 11,000 euro in debt. So she's got money troubles. Start of the month, she had 1,000 euro. Now she's overdrafted by 12,000. Let's see where that money went. There's a wire transfer to Shruti Ramesh, MD, for 15,000 pounds. Sorry, 15,000 euro on October 3rd. Then she went and bought some food at Fresh Mart. She took out 3,000 euro from an ATM. She went to lunch for 10 euro. She got paid her monthly salary from the hospital, 8,000 euro. October 4th, she ate out at Late Night Kebab. Here's going to be that suitcase. October 4th, 2 days before her death, she's bought a new suitcase for 83 euro. Later that day, she goes to an online store called Treasure Seekers. That's intriguing. Then still an hour later, she's gone to the DIY supply emporium. Does that mean she was digging up that floor or bought a metal detector? She's looking for some treasure. Then the next day, she goes to the gym. Then she takes out 1,300 pounds from the ATM. Then she spends 600 at a hotel at 1:20 a.m. in the morning. She's booking her flight. Hotel Swiss. This is her trip to Zurich, maybe. I can see someone is telling me that I've missed something. Okay, I'll read this in a second. 1350, that's the van. ATM, great catch. Okay, the chat has caught that she's withdrawn money on October 5th for 1,350 euro. And if you look at the van rental by Julie Schneider on October 5th, it's for 1,350 cash. So October 5th, 3:18 p.m. October 5th at 2:53 p.m. she's taken out the money to rent this van. So it seems like perhaps Sarah is using an alias of Julie Schneider. I wonder. And what is she planning on doing? And why would you rent a van to be returned on the 8th if you're planning on taking a plane trip? Maybe that was the idea. She was going to do this plane trip for business, and then she changed her mind and she's going to some kind of treasure hunting. And she's got coffee for $6. It just sounds like one person. And then here's her Chinese food. 8:43 p.m., she's purchased her Chinese food. Now, that suggests that she was alive and she had it delivered to that building where she was found dead. And that she was alive by the time it got delivered. Fascinating. Okay, so let's deal with what the chat says here. I did not read the last paragraph of the arson report. Okay, thank you for catching that. Let's go back. Why did I not read the last paragraph? Okay, the guard did a patrol at 9, fire at 10:20. Okay, last paragraph. Sarah Mandel, a physician, foreign national, has an office on the second floor adjacent to the crime scene. She testified at the time of the incident she was on call for the nearby ER unit, presently asleep in her office. She reports being woken up by the fire alarm, did not notice anything noteworthy upon evacuating the premises. So this arson happens on September 15th, and they're saying we have a witness, Sarah Mandel. She claims to have been sleeping in her office right next door when the fire alarm woke her up. And here she is dead in here a month later in this place, and it looks like she's trying to get some treasure. Like, what is she discovered is in this room? She's transferred $50,000 to this guy. And then she's embarking on this whole craziness. She buys a suitcase. She goes to Treasure Hunters, buys something for 160 euro, then gets some cheap equipment. I guess that's not going to be the metal detector for 13 euro. That would be like a hammer or something. She's going to the gym. Then all of a sudden, she gets out 1350 cash and rents a van under someone else's name to Zurich. Then at 1 a.m., after she's got the van, she's booking a hotel in Zurich, Hotel Swiss. So that's going to be in Zurich. And then early in the morning, she's got her coffee. And she's in the Faust house ordering delivery, takeout. So she is digging up the floor, trying to find something. And maybe she was the person who killed that cat. Maybe she is part of this cult. But she is clearly trying to dig up something from that floor. And I think her plan is to put it in the suitcase, put it in the van, and head off to Zurich. I think she's canceled her business trip and she's heading off to Zurich. Was she really going to kill herself and changed her mind? Or was she planning some sort of supernatural thing where, like, she kills a body, disappears, starts a new life? Very creepy. Okay, let's put these away. Let's go to the website. and advance our story. Okay, so we read this. Oh, yes. I think Isara has got something very alright, let's watch this first.
Is that what I get for all those love notes I sent you, Schwab? You fool. You fat, stinking, ignorant rat. Well, those remaining 7 brain cells that are rattling around inside that ugly head of yours, they're at the first clue of the forces that they're dealing with, Life was taken, you still... Well, I wonder who'll be next. Wonder I do. But I shouldn't be rude. Not when we have such distinguished company. An overseas rat. Exactly what we've been missing. But I kid. Lucian Lafferty. Pleased to make your acquaintance. You look tired. Are you sleeping okay? Yes. I'm the arch brother of the Brotherhood of Faust. But don't be fooled. We're no psychopath club, as the Schwabs of this world would have you believe. Of course, I understand. To the uninitiated, some of our opinions and rituals may seem rather frightening. Well, what frightens me are the billions of lives lived through compromise. It's silent desperation. Our aim is to remind people of life's basic alchemy. The forest must burn in order to grow anew. Something must die so that something may be born. You know, it's no coincidence I set up here in Prague, of all places. This is the tip of a magical triangle, yeah? Place of remarkable access to the most fundamental of forces. Our rituals go back millennia. Schwab's probably imagining thousands of our brothers worldwide, lighting scented candles and running a dagger through the heart of their pet ferret. Of course, that couldn't be further from the truth. I am the only one authorized to conduct any form of ritual. And it's certainly never just willy-nilly. There is no gain without sacrifice. And rather than sacrifice our sovereignty, our soul, you could just see our brothers. They certainly aren't angry and hunched over. Finally we get to the big question. Where was I Friday night? You want to know if I'm responsible for the death of little Mr. Doctor? Well, that's for me to know, and for you to find out, isn't it now? But let me ask you this. How do you think the Catholic Church would feel if somebody turned the Sistine Chapel into a grocery store? So keep on investigating, yeah? Our numbers grow every day. The longer we play, the more the word of our cause spreads. All right, all right.
Jesteś hubu, buzerante.
Open file 3, study Lafferty's file, move on when you're ready. I get the feeling that whether or not he's done it, Lafferty is in for a very unpleasant 24 hours at the station. He certainly had motive. Let's see what the guys back at the agency can gather for me on him and see if he had the opportunity to. Meanwhile, back at the police station, I ran into the girl who discovered the body. Eva Pokorna. Gonna take her on a sneaky walk and talk. As Bob gives me the vibe he'd prefer I call it case closed and book it back stateside. Okay. So, someone had a very good observation that I'm sort of ashamed that I missed, and it was Isara. Or, let's see. Yeah. So, that's a very good observation that it's worth spending a moment on here. The suicide note says, my plan is to throw myself into this river where I'll be swallowed up along with my soul. In other words, that's the kind of suicide when you fake a suicide. She's not like, I'm going to kill myself and you'll find my body here. It looks like it's a planned disappearance fake suicide. Like the note says, I'm jumping off the bridge into the water. You'll never find my body, but this will tell you I'm dead. So I think that's a very good observation that this woman may have been planning to disappear. She's rented a van under a fake name. And has she planned to disappear and make it look like she's committed suicide and no one will ever find her body? That's very tempting, but something has gone wrong. Okay, now we're going to read file 3 of 7. Okay, and now we know we actually can confirm that the way these files work is their photo is on the front. So there is Sarah, or I guess, yeah. Okay, now here's Lafferty, the guy who runs the cult. He did say something that was very interesting. He said, I am the only one who's authorized to do these animal sacrifices. The normal members of the Brotherhood would not be able to do that. Only he can do it. All right, let's see what we've got here. All right, there's not much here in this file. We've just got 3 sheets, and one of them is a very thick cardstock of his criminal arrest history database. Lucian Simon Lafferty, M.A., Masters of Arts, I'm not sure what that means. Born in Manchester, currently living in Prague. He said Prague is the tip of a triangle. He's an entrepreneur, blue eyes, blood type B+. He's got diabetes. His emergency contact is Gwendolyn Lafferty, his mother. Let's see, he's got a criminal record. What is his criminal record? He's got a property crime, impersonation. London, UK, party was reported in suspicion of impersonating a psychotherapist on inaccurate fictitious credentials. Upon conducting a house search, investigative officers discovered a number of forged academic and otherwise diplomas and credentials which the party was using to present himself as a licensed psychotherapist. Okay, so he's pretending to be an academic therapist as part of his entrepreneurial stuff. No dates here. Okay, another property crime. Prague, Czech. Party currently being investigated in connection with an incident of vandalism and arson at the Faust House on Karlova Square. The remains of a dead cat were discovered within fire residue. Forged in the shape of insignia associated with the Brotherhood of Faust, organization of which the party is a known member in a position of leadership. Okay, they're just saying they brought him in for questioning because he runs this organization and they found this organization's symbols burned on the floor. He didn't say anything about it, though. Blood type B+, but we do have his fingerprints. That could come in handy. It looks like some of them are all, I don't know if they're blurry for some reason. Like, has he burned his finger? We looked at his fingers there. It looked like they were painted black, but we've got some fingerprints, but just some of them are weird. Okay. What else do we have here? We've got a subpoena of his bank records. Okay, 25,000 euro. Let's see what his records look like. Tuesday, October 3rd, he spent 68 euro at the Occult Emporium. Then he spent 43 euro at the Esoteric Bookstore. And he went to a vegan restaurant. That's all on Tuesday, October 3rd. October 4th, he spent 126 euro at a jewelry store. On October 4th, he gets 2150 euro in a wire transfer. Where is our... I just want to remind ourselves in case we need to sync this up with Sarah's records. So Sarah sends 15,000 to Shruti, but that's not our guy. Okay. So he gets 2150. Then he goes to a tattoo studio. 190 euro. Sounds like he got a tattoo. Then he got another 750 euro from Showbiz TV. This other one is from Ferber Thur HD. Don't know what that is. Then he went to Chateau Wellness Retreat on Thursday for 1,000 euro. He got Brazilian waxing and a mud bath therapy. So this looks like it's going to be his alibi. He's gone on a retreat on Thursday. He's paid 1,000 euro. And then on Thursday, he gets his Brazilian waxing. On Friday, he takes mud bath therapy. Remember, this is the day our girl was killed. At 6 p.m., he's gone shopping. Sorry, at 5 p.m., he's gone shopping. And then at 7:45 p.m., he's back at the chateau getting a facial rejuvenation. Now, where is this chateau? Where is this? It's a Mecca. That sounds like he's still in Czech. The question is, how far away is this wellness retreat? I mean, he's got this facial rejuvenation at 7:45 p.m. We know our girl is still alive by 8:43 p.m., died soon after. But could he have gone here and then met up with her? Probably not. It seems like he's farther away from her. This seems like it might be a reasonable alibi. And they'd recognize him too and have cameras everywhere. Even if this was only an hour long, it would seem like he would have a hard time getting to her, but not completely impossible. The next day, on Saturday at 1:20, he's eating again vegetarian. Then he's going to a tea house on Sunday, and then shopping for crystals on Monday. Jamie says, The town of Brno is 2 hours away from Prague, so that gives him a very strong alibi. Very strong alibi. Yeah, probably a very strong alibi. We know her food gets delivered around 9 p.m. and she's killed right in the middle or soon after she's eating. So probably soon after 9 p.m. We probably should have written down our theory of her actual time of death a little bit better. But it sure seems like our guy could not get to her in time to be responsible for her death. All right, and then the last document from him is, looks like they subpoenaed some text messages. Love it. All right, so they've subpoenaed Lucian's text messages from the 3rd to the 9th. Couple days before the murder, couple days after it. Let's see what we've got here. So he's sending a message to another member of the cult. How many new paying subscribers? And then we don't see the reply, it sounds like. Then he gets a phone call, a 4-minute phone call on October 4th. Soon after that, he gets an incoming text message. It's a reply to this question. 6,751 new subscribers, primarily EU. Anything else I can assist with, Arch Brother? Wow, 6,000 subscribers, 7,000 subscribers per week. That's going to make him rich. Then he gets an incoming phone call for 3 minutes. We've got the numbers here. So he texts this guy how many new subscribers, and this guy replies several hours later, answers him. And this is a different number here from Showbiz TV. Showbiz TV calls him for 8 minutes. Then he's got another call from the same guy who told him how many subscribers. That person text messages and says almost 7,000, and then calls him on the phone 4 minutes later for a phone conversation. Same number, right? And then a couple hours later, he text messages this guy and says, running 30 minutes behind for the stream. So it looks like this guy called him and said, don't forget, we got a stream today in a couple hours. He messages the guy. He says, I'm running a little late. The guy replies, I'll make adjustments. Don't worry about it. And we've got a brand new number here that he sends a message to in the evening. A birdie tells me you've been dusting off your sharpshooting skills. I'm positively quaking in my boots. Sounds like maybe they might be talking about a video game or something. 8 p.m. he's messaged this person. Okay, then he has another phone conversation with someone we don't know. Yet another new number, but this one is from Chateau Wellness. Okay, so he calls Chateau Wellness on October 5th. Here he is making his reservation. At 9:11 he calls them, and he's getting billed for it a couple hours later. All right, so he's calling them about it. Then he sends a message while he's at the wellness retreat. He says, I'm out of town. I see a missed call. He's talking to his guy who's running his website. And this guy says, sorry to disturb you. Just a couple questions regarding the upcoming stream. It can wait. Then in the evening of October 5th, how have you been doing anyway, Sherlock? How's your cat murder investigation? Maybe you finally found your speed. Okay, so remember when we watched the video, this guy Lafferty, whose messages we're looking at, has been in contact, teasing, taunting the detective. And here he is calling the detective. So now we know what this number this is. So now you can see that's who he was taunting here. So he's calling the detective and saying, a birdie tells me you've been dusting off your sharpshooting. I'm quaking in my boots. And then later he's taunting him again. How have you been doing? How's your cat murder investigation? Maybe you found your speed. Okay, then he has another phone call with his web administrator. And here he is calling the detective again. I hear you've been getting a lot of love notes from our members. Wonder who leaked your number. So he doxed the detective, and the cult members are haranguing the detective. Now, this would have been when our girl is getting killed. The next morning, he says, getting back into Prague today, get everything ready for the stream. He's talking to his web guy. So he's still out of town and in his retreat. There's his alibi. And he surely can be, the cell phone tower can surely prove that at 9:28 when he sent this message taunting the detective that he was out of town. Getting ready for the stream, October 7th. His web guy says we're ready. At 8 p.m., he taunts the detective again. Ever occur to you, if you want to rid the world of fucking fanatics, as you say, you might start by looking in the mirror. Skip the shooting range, shoot yourself. Problem solved. And here he is taunting him again. Why no reply, Gramps? Arthritis making it impossible to hold your phone? Urine? Sad. What's this about urine? Why is he teasing him about that? But he is teasing him. He's saying, why aren't you replying to my messages? Okay, then he's got, on October 9th, all these different people are calling him. Showbiz TV calls him. They probably want to get him, after this girl's been murdered on the 6th, everyone probably wants to get him on TV to talk about the fact that his cult is now suspected of killing someone. Maybe a lawyer is calling him. So here's Showbiz TV is calling him for 3 minutes. Zima News is calling him for a 7-minute call. Showbiz TV calls back. We want to book you on the show. And then he's got a call from his web guy. Then the Prague Times wants an interview. And then the web guy calls and they talk for 17 minutes. Probably they're setting up a new live stream to capitalize on the new publicity. And then here is our detective calling him, or text messaging finally, saying, you fucking monster has gone too far this time. No fear, arrest warrant pending. I'll show you ritual. Will make your little Lafferty face fall off. So everyone wants him on TV now after this murder, or I guess they were talking about it ahead of time. When does he get paid by Showbiz TV? He gets paid on Wednesday, October 4th. And then we don't know what this one's about, though. Faustian Brotherhood. FBRTHHRD. That's his money he's making off the subscribers. Faustian Brotherhood. Okay. And then Showbiz TV is paying him on Wednesday, October 4th. So here they are. He's got a call from them at 2:21, and then 6 minutes later, they send him payment. Wednesday, October 4th at 2:27, they send him £750. And here is 2:21, he gets the phone call for them. So we don't know what they're paying him for, Showbiz TV. Maybe that's not his website, I don't think, is it? Anyway, no. So we don't know what they're paying him for, but he's got more conversations with them. Maybe he's just negotiating more TV shows. Okay, and then we've got another website. We haven't visited any of our websites. So pretty cool. I love these kinds of documents. Anything here that is a mystery to us? It feels like we've identified all of these numbers. I mean, we don't know who his web admin is, but essentially we've got conversations with the web admin and then taunting text messages with the detective, messages from the news companies, and then further proof of his alibi at the chateau. Nothing else really unexplained, I don't think. So mostly this feels like we've just got his alibi locked down. Although we may want to visit the website. What is this small print here? Company is registered commercial register, municipal court in Prague, and there's the website. And of course we got his account number and his phone number, I guess. All right. There is no other number. There is no number here. There's no phone call or number that's a mystery to us. We've identified basically the nature of all the calls. All the private calls, we know who those are to and from. Nothing surprising. The only number that is sort of a mystery to us are the Showbiz TV contact. Exactly why they're paying him. Right? Because here they are paying him after this short conversation, but we don't know what they're paying him for. But probably the newspapers just want to talk to him and do it, pay him to appear on their show. All right, that was pretty cool, though. All right, time for another break. I'll see you in 8 minutes. One thing for us to consider is if we want to break this stream into 2 parts today and tomorrow, where we want to break. We've just read file 3 of 7. So, and we've been streaming for 2.5 hours almost. So we'll take a break here. Maybe we do, well, we'll have to decide. We can either keep doing this the whole night for the next 3 or 4 hours, or maybe one more folder would be the halfway point and we break. Give that some thought. Let me know what you think when we come back. I'll see you in 8 minutes. We're back. You're watching Co-op for Two. We are playing Murder in Prague. We're almost at the halfway point. YouTube says 22 concurrent viewers and 12 likes. You might want to consider subscribing to the channel, clicking that bell to get notifications if you want to join me for future playthroughs. I've had a little bit of a think about it, and I think what we're going to do is we are going to break after the next folder, which probably will be an hour or so, and then we'll continue tomorrow evening, probably for another 3 or 4 hours. All right, so let's see. We've just read the folder on Lafferty. We've confirmed his alibi. And we are ready to advance through the website. Nice little background music here. We're told that it's October 10th, and we're back at the police station, so 4 days after the murder. Let's advance and see what we've got. Firewood and water, Maldo Colonnade.
I'm usually the first one in the morning, sorry, because I like to finish early, to make visiting hours at the hospital. My grandpa. Anyway, yeah, so I came upstairs and there she was. She looked so lifeless, but maybe peaceful. She looked very calm, no? I'm sorry. I was working on restoring the floor in the main library. It got damaged in the recent fire. I'm sorry. It's just such a terrifying thing, you know? One moment and then... And she was such a nice lady. Beautiful. Her office was that... Wow. On that floor. She'd always bring coffee and she was interested in my work. Actually interested, you know.
I bet she was.
Not just to be polite. I think maybe she was also running away from that bus doctor. I think he is a little creepy. You know? Friday evening? Oh, I wasn't here at all. I went to the mountains right after work. Let's get it. In the east, almost on Polish border, you know? Oh, I go most weekends. I grew up there with my grandpa. I cut the grass and take care of the garden a bit, and yeah. He seems to worry about it so much. He's so frail now. They say there's no cure, just some experimental treatment that costs a ton of money. Money. Such a silly thing when you think about it, yeah? And it could drive a person crazy.
Okay, Eva Pokorna. This is the person who's been hired to renovate the floor. And she tells us that she discovered the body, I guess, and she tells us that this woman, Sarah, the doctor, would stop by and talk to her about her work and seemed genuinely interested in it. The chat seems to be a little creeped out by this woman. Okay, a little creepy, The plot's getting as thick as Schwab's accent. Arranged to speak with the hospital chief tonight. Should be a charmer and a half. In the meantime, meandering through the streets of old Prague, my head awash with endearing images of ritual sacrifice, walled-in cats, and the devil flying through the ceiling. So this woman we talked to, Eva, she mentioned the chief medical guy who the suicide note mentions, and our detective says that we're gonna speak with him soon. All right. Well, let's go ahead and open the next folder and see what we can learn about Eva. She said she's out of town. She talked about her father being sick and needing money for his treatment. I am really loving the video production in this game. Like, whatever team recorded these videos, these are of a much higher caliber than we're used to. Even with the companies that are really good at this, really good at recording the voice acting and video scenes, this is of a different caliber. This is almost like a reasonable medium budget movie, these scenes, with the close-ups and the dollying cameras following them as they're walking, and the outdoor scenes of Prague. This is living up to its own hype. Okay, here's Eva, looking better in her headshot than she does in real life, but I liked her. Chat seems to think she was creepy. I thought she didn't seem that creepy to me. I guess the chat didn't like when she was saying how peaceful the lady doctor looked impaled on the rebar. Only 2 little things in here. 3 things, very short. Maybe it's time for us to start visiting these websites. All right, let's look at her criminal history here. Eva Pokorna. So, born in Czech Republic, lived in the Czech Republic all her life. She's an antique restorer, freelance. 32 years old, O-, O negative. No health issues known. She's a friend to our victim. We've got her fingerprints, and now we can see the fingerprinting department in the Czech Republic is just not that great. So some of the fingerprints are all smudged. She has a little bit of a criminal history. She's got an SOC crime. In Prague, party was apprehended as part of a group of ecology activists trespassing on private property landfill. Okay, so she's a little bit of a eco-terrorist. Apprehended parties formed a human chain blocking access to the property as a form of protest. She resisted arrest, trespassing, and disorderly conduct. And then later in Sumperk, Czech, party pulled over on a routine traffic stop. Record shows a number of lapsed unpaid tickets for traffic violations. Driver's license was confiscated by reporting officer. Okay, so very minor crimes, nothing that would suggest murder. All right, let's look at her bank. We've got bank statements and phone records again. Love it. Okay, this is not bad police work. Subpoena the bank records, subpoena the phone records. That's a good first pass approach. Okay, so she's got money troubles of her own. She owed 2,600 euro at the start of the month. End of the month, she owes 5,000 euro. Let's see what she's got. She went to the pharmacy October 3rd, 60 euro. That's an expensive pharmacy. She went and got her vitamins, 100 euro. What is she taking? corner store, 18 euro. Mobile phone, not mobile phone. She's gone to integrated transport and made a purchase over her phone for 22 euro. Then she went to Discount Mart. Then she went to the hospice for her father and paid 830 euro. Her father's in hospice. Can't get any better, but if you don't know what a hospice is where you go to die. You basically get given care when they can't do anything for you. You're going to spend your remaining time in as comfortable a condition as possible before you die. So here she is visiting her father in Prague and paying the 800 euro bill. Maybe she's buying these herbal remedies for her father, hoping it will do something for him. So she spent 42 euro at an online herbal shop. Then she went to the bakery Friday morning, October 6th, 5 euro. She had to pay 85 euro interest payment on her overdraft. Yikes. Then the online pharmacy, 263 euro on Sunday. So no transactions on the evening when our girl got killed. She's going to the restaurant on Sunday for 12 euro, just eating by herself, presumably at that cost. She went and took 85 euro out of the bank ATM. Then she needed some counseling online for 75 euro. Then ordered more medicine for her dad, presumably. And then went and pawned some jewelry, but actually she didn't get any money from the pawn. She paid money. She paid them money. That's weird. What's that all about? She's gone to a pawn shop and spent 500 euro at a pawn shop on Monday. How does someone who's 5,000 euro in debt spend 500 euro at a pawn shop? What are you buying? What are these banks that just let you go more and more into negative balance? Well, they do it. If they think they can get the money from you, it's like a credit card. Why is she? I'm very curious what she's spending 500 euro for at the pawn shop, though. That's very odd. All right, let's look at her phone records. Maybe they offer us a clue. October 4th, the hospice calls her for 20 minutes to talk about her dad, presumably. Then she gets a call from the hospital. That's interesting. And then she calls another medical foundation. But this is our hospital where our doctor works. It's only a 30-second phone call, though, at 8 in the morning. That's weird. Okay, then she gets a text message. How you holding up, babe? How's grandpa? Girls' night sometime soon. So some friend of hers. She replies back, hey you, same old, but rounding the corner, hopefully. Then the hospice, she calls again for a 40-minute call. Then she has a 7-minute call. A loan company calls her. 22-minute call, ALS Foundation. That might be Alzheimer's. Here she's called the hospice again. And she calls this private number. which is the same number of this person she's texting. So she's got a friend. How's grandpa? I wonder if this is her daughter. I think this is going to be her daughter. How old is she? She's single. She's 32 years old, though. I think this is her daughter asking about grandpa, asking about her father. And she texts those, and then she has some conversations with that person. Then she's text. So here's the date of our girl's death is here. Hospice. So she doesn't have an alibi on her text messaging. 6 p.m. she's calling the hospice. And then no further sign of her. Then she has a phone call, or she tried to call her daughter. No one answered. So she texts her. She says, "Call me, please." The daughter calls back and misses her. The hospice calls her for 2 minutes. By the time we get to October 8th, she's missed a call from her daughter. Then she has an hour conversation with the hospice. Maybe when she calls the hospice, she's actually speaking with her father. Emergency services, yikes. She calls them. Then the criminal division has called her on October 9th. Presumably, hey, where were you? Someone just died in the Faust library that you're supposed to be repairing. That's when they find the body, remember, October 9th. Okay, here is October 9th at 4:27 p.m. The pawn shop. She calls the pawn shop. October 9th, 4:27, she calls the pawn shop, and here she is 2 hours later. She's gone in and paid them the money to get something back. Remember that the body's not discovered until the 9th, so someone could be visiting that place while the body is sitting on that bar. But she calls the pawn shop. She says, "Do you still have my thing?" And they say, "Yep," and we're about to sell it. And then she goes in 2 hours later, gives them €500 to pick it up. And then here she is calling the hospice for 34 minutes. The daughter wouldn't call her mother babe, so that's either a non-married partner or possibly sister. Yeah, except she's referring to grandpa. How's grandpa? A daughter might call her mother babe. A daughter might. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. And remember, this is Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic. So they might have different things there. Okay, so that's the end of file 4 of 7. So I think this is the last file we should look at tonight. However, maybe it's time for us to see if these websites are actual places for us to visit. We've got a bunch of websites we made notes of to check out. If we start at the top, we've got insurance company, and we've got the website belonging to Sarah. General Prague Hospital. All right, let's see if these, and then we've got the bank account has a hospital, the insurance company has a hospital. Maybe let's start out by making, let's see how this game works. Let's see if these websites are real and visitable. I guess it doesn't really matter the order, but here I have in front of me a very clear website for the bank. So let's go ahead, bring this up. I want a new tab. All right, here we go. So www. Okay, so unless I've spelled something wrong, eternitybank.com, that does not exist. Okay, how about the insurance company, Marlowe Insurance? MarloweInsurance.com. No. Let me just make sure with the different web browser that we're not having a problem there. Okay, so these aren't real websites, right? Yeah, okay, so I was just checking that the internet was working here. Okay, so I have no complaints from me that these websites don't exist. I'm happy to have this game not make us go to these websites, and we're getting the actual documents anyway, so I don't know why we would care about being able to access the website. We had one more that we were sort of curious about. I might as well just do the final check on. That was the phone website. It is a little weird that the game is giving us these websites for seemingly no reason. Nortel. Okay, so none of the websites are real and visible, which is just fine by me. All right. So we've been through Lafferty, the guy who runs the Brotherhood cult, which looks like it's a entrepreneurial men get your life together cult, and he's making lots of money on it, and he's going to a wellness spa. He has an alibi. We've got our victim, who we think might have been setting up a fake suicide so she could leave the country. It looks like maybe she had figured out there's some treasure in this place she could get. And then we've got the restorer, who's a little bit suspicious and creepy, but I'm not particularly suspicious of her. She has no real alibi, though. And then we've also got the scene of the crime document. That's our 4. That is our 4 folders. And when we're ready, we can move along. We've been playing for 3 hours. A very slow burn, but a very intriguing case that I'm fully invested in. I want to get to the bottom of it. So I think we're going to stop here. I think we're going to stop here. I don't want to... Yeah, I think we should stop here, yeah? Then tomorrow we'll surely have 3 hours or more to play. Any initial thoughts about Murder in Prague? I mean, I am loving the whole vibe and presentation of this case. To me, we played a couple of games that have multimedia and have more other internet stuff. To me, this is sort of exactly what I want. It's mostly physical items with these long little video segments in between them that are advancing the case and telling story. But we're not having to go negotiate websites. It's all physical stuff. Other than the movie, the little interview between sections. To me, that's a great decision. And the quality of the acting and the sort of dark adult vibe is great. I'm loving it. Loving it. Sarah's money troubles explain why she would want to disappear, but maybe the potential treasure made her change her mind. Yeah. We've got 2 people with money troubles here. But I mean, look, realistically, she's got a job as a doctor in a hospital, and her money troubles are completely within the realm of manageable, right? I mean, this woman who died, feels like they filed these slightly wrong. This woman who died, her bank account is 12,000 euro overdraft. A doctor working in a hospital with a 12,000 euro overdraft, that is not a big deal. That is not kill yourself debt. There's plenty of people who have like $100,000 of debt and have no job. That's where you kill yourself. No doctor's killing themselves off a 12,000 euro debt, which she just got this month. No, something else is going on. And why has she sent someone 15,000 euro 3 days before her death? She has sent a doctor 15,000 euro. So something's gone wrong with her life that we don't understand. But I think that she was planning to fake her suicide, and she was going to get some treasure that she's figured out is in this place, buried in the walls, in the statue. I wonder if this person that she agreed to give her life insurance to didn't kill her. And I wonder what this girl, the freelance floor restoring woman, what did she just pay 500 euro to a pawn shop for? That's very weird. Although she's clearly spending all her money on her father who's dying in hospice. Maybe at the pawn shop she found some medical device, like some oxygen, $500 oxygen machine or something that she's buying for her dad. All right. A very fun case. I'm very curious to see how it ends. We'll meet up tomorrow evening, same time, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time for part 2. I'll go schedule it as soon as I sign off here. And we'll figure out what we're going to do on Sunday. If you watch this after the fact, let me know what you think of the case so far. But we'll solve it tomorrow. I'll see you then.